What's up, y'all? Back at it. Today we're gonna try and make a rough and dirty router table. Been wanting one for a while. Don't really want to spend the money to buy one, so I've been scanning the internet trying to find one. A simple plan. I want to do a more elaborate one later, but this is under $100, so let's give this a go, see how it goes. Alrighty, first step, we're gonna make the top. I'm gonna use 2 pieces of 1/4-inch plywood, 2x4 pieces of plywood. I'm gonna cut them to 2x3, so really just cutting a foot off. So we're gonna put them on the table saw real quick, knock that out, and then start working on the frame. We lucked out because both these pieces are actually 4x8. Sorry, 2x4, so I don't have to adjust the table saw. That's a win. All right, so before I get to the frame, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue these, clamp them together, just to get them nice and snug to each other. That didn't work how I wanted it to. Probably throw some weights on top of it, so I'm gonna have that drying while I start working on the frame itself. So now we're gonna get to working on the frame. So I'm gonna make it 35 inches tall, 22 inches deep, and about 34 inches wide. How did I come to those numbers? I just looked up what are basic router dimensions online. That's what they said around that, so I'm just going with it. I'm a 2x4 short because I didn't know what I was gonna do before I started. That's all right, we'll just get it tomorrow. So now we're gonna cut our legs, then our support base, let that continue to dry. Yeah, this should be simple. Just cuts with the miter saw. A lot of people still don't use user manuals. They're there for a reason. They make life a little bit more simple. So that's that. All right, so my settings on here, I did my board thickness at 1.5 inches because that's what we got. And then for the actual drill bit itself, laid it in here, 1.5 inches per the user manual. Alrighty, y'all, welcome back. We are picking up where we left off on our router table. So I had to go buy some more lumber. I bought 3 more 2x4s, bought a little bit different wire for the outlet brackets to throw underneath. So this behind me, the actual tabletop, been gluing for a few days, so I'm feeling good about that. Now we just need to finish the actual support. This is why I got new lumber, because the other one is super twisted. All right, so this is why we're switching this out. This backboard, super twisted. Gonna make our future life a lot more difficult. Once we do that, put it on top, and we're close to done. Appreciate y'all watching. Let's see how this goes. You guys have seen us use these a lot. 90-degree clamps. And like in a project like this where I'm needing to have two right angles, I can secure this side, holds it pretty firm, secure the other side, so now whenever I go to put in our Craig screws, shouldn't have much movement, if any, so it just limits the amount of having to realign. But definitely a good tool to have in your tool belt, in your shop, tucked away in the closet. Whenever you're doing some woodworking, good tool to have. Definitely glad I took the time to replace that board. This is far more square, not nearly as warped, aside from what's natural just in the wood itself. This will be a really good foundation for us. Alrighty, so we've got our top subframe, we got the top, so now we need to combine the two, and then we're going to add the legs that we cut a little while ago. So we should start to get the shape of a table now, and then we do kind of the more intricate cutting, which I'm both excited and nervous about. So let's get to it. Making good progress. Next we got the legs. First water. Hit that point where I'm either about to be really proud of myself or really disappointed. We got our legs on. You can see, super simple, kind of like frame structure. Got my clamps holding them here. It was unfortunate I didn't have the camera on, but I had another cabinet seam where the wind came, blew the legs right over onto me. It was comical to myself. Some wood screws right through this, connect them. Cheap, easy, and fun. Then we'll go on to the scary cut. Ain't wobbling. I'll take it. Alrighty. Get this luscious flow out of my face. Next part we got is what I've been calling the scary part. We're gonna actually make the insert for where the router will sit. So I got a piece of plexiglass. forget what the measurements are. I think it's 11 by 14. I'm going to keep it exactly as that. But we're going to trace that onto the tabletop, outline it, then we're going to cut in a little bit, and that's where we're going to actually route out the thickness of it. Then from there, we're going to set it in, attach the router to it, and we're just about home. So yeah, this will be the fun and or F-bomb part. So let's see how it goes. So while that was an intimidating cut, that wasn't the scary cut. What we're gonna do next is I'd outline the 1.5" measurement there router. We're gonna route out the thickness of the plexiglass or acrylic that we got. We're gonna drop that in there so it's nice and flush with the rest of the table. This is the scary cut, so I'm sure I'm gonna have to use some scraps to create a guard to prevent me from going too far over. We're getting close. That's going to be the goal. Do that the rest of the time, figure I'll show you what it looks like. Scary cut is done. I feel like most things, right? It wasn't as bad as I thought. Got it in there, our acrylic fits, that's good. So the next step is, you saw I marked the X on the acrylic. Since I already had everything centered, I figured let's go ahead and do that. Of all the things I saw happening there, that acrylic snapping like that was not one of them. regardless with that. And it's done for the bare necessities of this table. So at this point, we could be done. I got it in there. I think I might have to buy some different screws for the actual router top itself. However, it's in there. I can use it. What I'm going to do next is wire up a switch to this table. So I bought a 1520 amp switch, 1520 amp outlet, bought some 14.3, so 14 gauge 3-wire 14 gauge extension cord. So we're going to try and put those together, mount them onto the table, and then it can kind of be ready to go whenever I need. So for the electrical, it was pretty straightforward: black to black, white to white, ground to ground. I just threw them all into a jumper. Yeah, one of those. Got that extension cord coming out the side, so it's all in there. In my mind, that should complete the circuit. So to test it, I brought some outdoor lights that we don't use anymore. So if there is something wrong with that, hopefully there's no issue. The electrical didn't work the first time. Had to call the GC and get a little bit better explanation as to why, because it would work without having my switch on though, and then when I turned it on, I flipped the breaker. Alrighty, you guys, we're back at it. It's been a day of rest. Thinking about this electrical, like I said, I called the GC. It's really just kind of switching one wire and adding a new jumper. So we're gonna do that. And hopefully this router table is done. Alrighty, it's a little bit darker now. My test didn't work. I basically recreated the same issue I did yesterday. So I called Grandpa, who gave me the 411. And what I was doing incorrectly was I was running basically power source to the whole circuit. So it didn't matter if it was on or off, it was going to get power regardless. So what I switched is on the bottom terminal of the switch, I ran the active wire from our power source. And then on the top terminal of the switch, I ran the active wire from our outlet, which once we discussed it like that, I was like, this makes perfect sense. So now the switches work. It powers it when it should and cuts it off. Clean all that up, get it installed, then I'll show you our tester. So for the purposes of this demonstration, the lights are going to act like my router. I'm going to show you guys we finally got this thing wired right. I'm so proud.